Hello everyone, welcome back to a new review. This is going to be a little different because I'm going to be talking about a brand new album dropped not even a week ago. And that is, of course, Lady Gaga's Chromatica. She's always been an artist where, I have a friend who said something to the effect that she is the most frustrating pop star of the 21st century. And I definitely get that because, the woman has an insane amount of raw talent that somehow has never really translated into, amazing albums. She's made good albums I enjoy a lot, The Fame Monster, a good 2/3 of Born This Way. But then again, she made Art Pop, she made The Fame. Joanne is one where I like it when it's on, but the moment it's off, I forget everything about it. And that in spite of the fact that it has a ton of people who I like guest starring on the album. So, going into this one, I was a little apprehensive. Stupid Love was a phenomenal single, one of the best tracks she's put out in years, but you know what? Art Pop had phenomenal singles too, so that doesn't mean anything. And I kept hearing, oh, it's gonna be a dance album. It's gonna be a dance album. And I assumed, it's just, she's gonna go back to her Born This Way styles. It's gonna be more like The Fame and The Fame Monster and everything she did before Art Pop. And Stupid Love was very much making me think that would be the case. But then I actually heard from a friend about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, dude, it's like a straight up house album," And I was kind of intrigued, so I listened to it, and yeah, it's a straight up dance record. I was not expecting Gaga to go that hard on the dance, but just about every track has some sort of dance beat. There's a ton of 90s house kind of tracks. It was really, reminding me of that era of 90s pop where you would turn on a Madonna album, would turn on a Janet Jackson album, and house beats would just slap you in the face, stuff like Erotica or Janet's Self-Titled, or even some of the poppier stuff on the Velvet Rope, just four on the floor, punching you in the face with that really 90s sound. And it's a sound that hasn't really been used, or at least I haven't heard it much in a lot of music outside of the 90s, so it's good to hear again. I've always liked house music. Obviously, I was not listening to it in the 90s. But, whenever I found a CD of it or somebody threw it into some tracks in the 2000s and 2010s, I really liked it. And so, yeah, the album is very good. To me, it's better than Joanne. It's definitely better than Art Pop, but it's not as good as The Fame Monster to me. I think it's probably similar to Born This Way in a lot of respects. It's a very different beast. It's a softer, more dance-oriented version of Lady Gaga than any of her original stuff was. There was an industrial abrasiveness to her at the beginning of her career that is pretty much entirely lost at that point. And I won't lie, I miss some of that to an extent. But, by the same token, times have changed. We are living in this, Renaissance age for dance pop. All of you, my fictitious young audience that I like to imagine that I have, even though I know every single person watching this channel is older than me. All of you people out there who are pop stans are lucky, because there was a time when the conventional critical wisdom from music snobs like myself was that pop music was trash. It was disposable plastic worthlessness for people of inferior intellect who weren't cultured types like myself who listened to the Flaming Lips and Vampire Weekend. But that in turn I feel like has always sort of been the contradiction of Lady Gaga's later career, or at least after art pop, you know, is like, how does she fit into this modern world where pop's not a dirty word anymore, rock is dead, hip-hop is king, and Pitchfork, you know, the kind of site that used to deride anybody who had even a major label behind them, is now shilling for the latest Ariana Grande project and talking about Dua Lipa and Lana Del Rey as the voices of a generation, you know. This album doesn't quite solve that contradiction, but it comes pretty close. You know, it does a lot of stuff that I like. She does a duet with Elton John that is a good track, but Elton John did not need to be on it because it's like his voice is so wrecked at this point, and he is so heavily auto-tuned that honestly it could be anybody. Didn't need to be Elton John. It could have been any male singer on that track. She does a track with Blackpink, who are apparently huge right now, but I know nothing about because I am a 20-something boomer who does not follow the top 40 music scene outside of artists who were popular when I was in high school. There's also a track with Ariana Grande, but honestly I kind of forgot which track that even was in the shuffle of the album. You know, it's a very sort of samey album in a lot of ways. Like, there is interesting music happening here. Like, there's a track relatively early on that like is combining house beats with that sort of generic EDM popcore where everything is like dun 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 dun, and then it builds to like the lamest drop in the world. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've listened to any pop music in the last 3 years, you know what I mean. And there's some cool stuff with vocal effects and weird stuff. There's some sort of overarching concept of healing and I guess mental health issues running through this album. I'll be honest with you, I didn't pick up on them as much as a lot of other people did. Lady Gaga has never written the best lyrics, in my opinion, and there was a line or two that made me go, "You really went with that, huh?" But on the whole, I liked it. You know, it's a strong 7 to me. I would feel comfortable giving it a 7. It's not her best, it's not her worst. It's a strong return to commercial form as far as making commercial pop. I don't know how it's done in terms of the charts or anything. You know, we've got this whole situation going down with the COVID-19 and whatnot, and I feel really bad for a lot of artists like Gaga and like Dua Lipa and so on and so forth who are dropping these dance floor albums that are designed to get down to, and you know, it's supposed to be, I feel like a lot of people were thinking like I was thinking, you know, this is the rebirth. This is pop music coming back. We're at capital P pop after like 4 or 5 years of droney wannabe Lord derivatives just sort of ruling the roost. But then coronavirus happens, and now, you know, nobody's dancing, nobody's getting down, and if we are, we're dancing with ourselves. It's not even on this album. Anyway, that was my review of Chromatica. Leave a response down in the comments to tell me that I've been mispronouncing the album title this entire time, and or to chastise me for not giving this album a 10 out of 10. I will see you all later.